What is up, guys? Welcome to another video, which means another review, which is another dopamine high and a chunk bitten out of my wallet. And today we are taking a normal sized review, because if you don't know what I'm talking about, if you take a look at my Jazzwares, the Halo, the Spartan Collection Wave 6 review, that is a 50-minute video. That is the longest review I've ever done. And in my defense, I was reviewing 4 figures and I went really in depth with the entire wave and all that. So I do apologize for those who found the video too long. There are chapters in the description below so you can break down the video and watch what parts you specifically want to watch. But back to what we are reviewing today, and we are reviewing NECA's The Snake Alien. Now, this figure is not new, but I'm starting to see him pop up in Targets just throughout my state, so I don't know if he's being re-released or what. But because I was able to find him, we are going to review him. So let's get into that. But before we touch the figure, we got to go over some lore. And as always, if you don't want to listen to the lore segment, there are chapters in the description of this video so you can skip to the actual figure review. But if you do like the lore about these xenomorphs, let's get into it. So our boy, the Snake Alien here, has only made 2 appearances in the Aliens universe, and only one of those appearances was physical while the other was mentioned. His physical appearance was in Aliens Night Strike while he was mentioned in Operation Aliens. So Aliens Night Strike was a mini comic that you got with the original Kenner Snake Alien, and it's the comic is around the xenomorph variant that you have just purchased. So of course the antagonist of that comic is the Snake Alien, while like I said with Operation Aliens, the Snake Alien is only mentioned. So unfortunately, like most of the xenomorph variants we get in these comics, not much is known about them, but all we do know that is the Snake Alien was obviously built like a snake, possessing no arms or legs, and was pretty much all tail. It did have the hood similar to a cobra, and this hood was able to spit out acid. Another snake-like ability that this variant had was it was able to unhinge its jaw, and is known for having the largest inner jaw out of any alien variants. And pretty much that is everything we know about the Snake Alien. Who knows, maybe we can see him in another Alien game. Maybe if Alien Fireteam Elite adds more variants, we can get this guy, but who knows. So with all that said, let's move on to the figure review. So looking at the box, we can tell that there's a lot going on with this guy. He has a very crazy design, a lot of colors going on, and he has all this stuff. He's got his nice big tail on the side that we can see right there. And if we take a look at the back of the box, we can see a bunch of other stuff. We can see the AVP arcade game figures, some Predator figures, and some Alien figures. So with all that said, let's jump right into the figure. So diving on into articulation, he can look up all the way, which is really good xenomorph articulation, seeing that not a lot of figures can do that. And then looking down, he can look down a good amount, not as much as looking up, and he can rotate his head 360 degrees if you really wanted him to do that. And the fangs on the mouth aren't actually fixed or messed up. You can actually move them around, and you can actually have a wide range of motion with them. You can expand them, or have them just open up, and then you can rotate them 360 degrees. They are on a ball joint, so you can pretty much angle them however you want, which is really cool. And then if we move to the hood or body of the Snake Alien, he has these claws, these kind of like just snatchers, I don't know what I would call them, but he has these like claws that he can open, and they are on a swivel, so they just open and close. They don't rotate or anything like that. And one thing I do want to point out is that the claws can be semi-loose at times, so please be very careful when you're bending these. Don't roughhouse or apply too much force to these, because it will make them loose and a bitch to put back on. And as you can see, that one claw I was messing with was very loose. And then moving to what really makes the Snake Alien, and that is its tail body, and it is just essentially one big piece of wire that you can manipulate. So essentially a xenomorph tail, but bigger, and I think they handled this really well. The range of motion is really good. The manipulation feels good. There's no risk of snapping or just breaking of the tail. and I think the only limitation on the tail is the spines, because the spines will clash with each other, but after that I think the range of motion on his body is really good. And one aspect of the Snake Alien that truly makes it unique amongst most variants, and actually kind of makes it one of the more freakier ones, is its second mouth. Now, its second mouth isn't just, you unhinge its jaw and pull forward. His bottom jaw actually doesn't really want to move, so you kind of have to pull through his fangs. But once you're able to pull out that second mouth, the two bigger fangs come with it, and you can see that there is another mouth in his second mouth, giving him a third mouth. And that's not just the weird part, but you can pull out this third mouth, so he can pull out two mouths and just extend upon the third one, and it is truly something that just makes this guy very unique and creepy, and just something I find very cool about him, because I don't think I've seen any other variant do this. So yeah, that is a very cool feature about the Snake Alien. Now, I was kind of hesitant to add this segment of the video into the video, because it's very obvious what makes the Snake Alien very different when comparing it to a normal xenomorph drone. But I like doing these segments. I've been doing them of recently, and I just, I have fun doing it. So we're going to do it for the Snake Alien, even though how obvious his differences are when comparing him to a normal, drone. So before diving into the differences, obviously I am using the Alien's xenomorph as our reference for a normal drone. So looking at the heads of these two, we can see that there are very, very little similarities. The only similarities I can see besides the shape is the ribbed tube alongside their head. After that, these two do not share much in common. The big one is the color and size of their heads. The Snake Alien has a bigger head, but getting more in depth, we can see that the Snake Alien has two sets of fangs just protruding from his mouth, and we can see that his lips are much larger, and his teeth are also much longer as well, and that when we get to the top of the head, we can see that the hard skull of the Snake Alien is bronze and has holes going along the side of it, while on top it's kind of the spiky spines going along. And obviously the colors are very different, with the Alien's xenomorph being kind of this lightish, darkish, gray, blue color and black, where the Snake Alien has bronze and silver and green going on. So getting to where the differences are just obnoxiously obvious, and that is the torso area. And just looking at where the chest is of the Snake Alien, he still has the same kind of rib cage design that the normal drones do have, but it kind of expands into the hood of the his body. And then of course there are the claws that are on the end of the hood, and he has no arms, where our normal xenomorph of course has his arms and his torso and his normal xenomorph parts. So yeah, the Snake Alien, no arms, he has a hood and his claws, and it just the colors are yet again obviously different. He has light green, dark green, purple, brown, and orange. And then of course our normal xenomorph boy over here has this like dark blue, grayish color with black. And then moving below the torso obviously is the next obnoxiously obvious difference between the two, and that is that the Snake Alien has no legs, because it is a snake. Who saw that one coming? But that's really it. I mean, the colors are fairly similar. They're both dark in nature, but obviously the Snake Alien has a kind of a brownish orange tint to its tail, where the normal xenomorph still has that gray black color palette going on. Moving on down to the tips of their tails, and obviously the big difference here is that the Snake Alien's dagger tail thing is more looking like a spear or a javelin, where it's kind of like four corners and just it all meets at the end to make this one big, mean, nasty blade. And then obviously our normal xenomorph has this normal pointy xenomorph dagger tail. Then moving back up to the torso, but looking at the backs this time, the Snake Alien doesn't have any large protruding spines like the normal xenomorph drone does have. He does have some tiny spines towards the lower part of his hood slash back that transition into his tail, but nothing that really stands out like the normal xenomorph spines do. And of course he has his webbing from his hood, and of course different colors and shape and size, all that good stuff. But yeah, and before we start wrapping things up, let's move on to some size comparisons. And this size comparison is going to be a little different because I'm not going to have the Snake Alien completely stretched out, so he's just going to be kind of standing upright. So I apologize for the inaccurate size comparison. So starting off, we have the Snake Alien next to a normal Xenomorph. Then we have the Alpha Predator. Then we have Jazzwares, the Spartan Collection Halo Infinite Master Chief. Then we have Hasbro Star Wars The Black Series Captain Fordo. And finally, we have McFarlane's Doomslayer. And here we are at the turntable segment of the video where I pretty much go over what I like, dislike, stuff like that, and create a discussion. And hopefully you guys can bounce off what I say and go down into the comment section and create a discussion of your own, because I like talking about this stuff. And starting off with the things that I dislike about this figure, and it's not even something I dislike, it's more of something I have an issue with, and I don't think I should really take off points for it, because it's all about, you know, if you're a good handler of your figures or not. And that is the claws. For me, one of the claws were loose, and I will blame myself for, you know, not, you know, being very careful, because they are held in pretty securely. They have to be in order to, you know, stay on. And, you know, what is it, if you're not careful enough, they will come off. So, you know, be careful with that. And then one other thing that I can actually think of, and this is gonna probably be a make or break for some people. For me personally, it's not a deal breaker, but for some it might be. And it's that this guy, if he's more of a shelf warmer, or just he's always going to sit on your shelf, you can't really pose him. You can't really have him do anything crazy. I have him sitting up in all these turntable shots because I can't really have him laying down, or, you know, it's just there's not much you can do with them when it comes to playability. Or like there is functions like his mouths and his claws folding, and of course you can manipulate his tail. So there's a lot of functionality, but like realistically there's not much you can do to like really play with him. You can probably get a cool few photos or shots of him, but after that there's not really much you're gonna do with him. He doesn't have arms or legs to get all these really cool poses with. So more times than not, you're probably just gonna have him on display rather than, you know, playing around with him. And like I said, that might be a deal breaker for some, and personally, like I said, not for me, because I think he looks really cool, and I think he'd be a really cool piece to have on my shelf with the rest of my Xenomorphs. And of course, the one thing I always have to talk about when I'm reviewing a NECA figure, and that is the sculpting and painting is phenomenal on these figures, especially with this guy. This guy, he has a lot of wrinkles and small little, you know, things going on with all the spinage and just, you know, all these little tiny things that, you know, they probably didn't have to add in, and I'd still think this is a good figure, but, you know, they went the extra mile and they added all these tiny little details, and I think this figure looks phenomenal. It's a very busy design as it is, and just adding more onto it just makes it look even cooler. And then of course the paint job, this is a very vibrant variant of Xenomorph. There's a lot of colors going on. We got green, multiple shades of green, we have bronze, we got black, we got orange, brown, and purple, just a bunch of colors, and I think it looks really cool. It has like this chaotic cosmic look, and I just really adore it. I think the purple, you know, tail and claws are just a great splash of color that contrasts with the rest of the design. And yeah, that is me, you know, beating the dead horse, you know, praising NECA for their painting and sculpting work. But like I say it a lot, but there's a reason why I say it. I think just the amount of effort they put in with these figures are phenomenal. And yeah, so another video where I stroke the schlong of NECA of their awesome painting and sculpting work. But you know, I'm always going to praise it for a reason, because of just how good it actually is. And after that, I don't think there's really much else to talk about with this figure. There's not too much to discuss. You know, I went over all his functions and the articulation, and that's pretty much all I have to say about this guy. There's, you know, he comes with less stuff than a normal Xenomorph, I guess, or there's less stuff to cover. I don't know. It's like he's another Xenomorph that doesn't come with any accessories. A lot of Xenomorphs don't come with accessories, but for some reason it feels like there's less stuff that comes with this guy. I don't know if it's because he just doesn't have arms or legs, but yeah, no, this is probably one of my shorter videos. If it's not, I'll be genuinely surprised. But yeah, overall a very good looking figure with a lot of functionality and playability with it, but somehow my brain still thinks this guy comes with less. I don't understand. But yeah, very good looking figure, very good feeling figure with the whole articulation and manipulation of the tail body, and a lot of cool functions and features that, you know, you can kind of play around with this guy. And with all that said, I do hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, this might be one of my shorter ones, and if it's not, like I also said, I'll be surprised. But, you know, I hope you enjoyed the video. A like and a subscription would be awesome. You don't have to comment because that's a lot of effort, but I do like discussion. So if you want to discuss, you're more than welcome to. And we both know that the bell is broken. So if you like more content like this, I got plenty of it on the channel. I do other stuff besides the Alien franchise. I've reviewed, you know, Halo stuff, Star Wars stuff, some Lego stuff, and some model kit stuff as well. So go check that out if you are interested. But with all that said, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in another dopamine high.